People like you don't get to barbecue here, Mr. Williams. That's the HOA president, standing on the sidewalk, talking to the only black family in a 150-home neighborhood. She's holding a clipboard. Violation number 23. 23 violations, 8 months, $4,200 in fines. For what? Lawn height, 3.2 inches instead of 3. Trash can visible from the street for 4 minutes. A 6-year-old's painted rock on the porch, and the smoke from a barbecue grill that a dead man gave his son. The white neighbor 3 doors down? Lawn at 4.1 inches. Never fined. 87 identical violations across the neighborhood, all white-owned homes. 0 fines, not 1. Marcus Williams takes the envelope, doesn't open it, doesn't argue. He looks at Carol Hennessy, clipboard, pen clicking, glasses on the tip of her nose, and says 5 words. "No, ma'am, have a good day." He walks inside, closes the door. Carol doesn't know that the man she just threatened spent 15 years solving homicides for Atlanta PD. She doesn't know about the 5 cameras recording her right now. She doesn't know about the 200-page evidence file sitting on his dining room table. She doesn't know that her own fire pit, same smoke, same violation, 0 fines, is already on page 74. And she doesn't know that in 4 months, 80 barbecue grills will be parked on the street in front of her house. Hey everyone, my neighbor texted me this link at 2 a.m. with 1 word: read. I almost didn't. The title was so long I thought it was fake. Then I got to the part where a 9-year-old stopped playing in her own yard because Mama says if we play outside we get another letter. I put my phone down, picked it back up, kept reading. 89,000 upvotes, 14,000 comments. A woman wrote, "They did this to us. We moved. We shouldn't have." That line kept me up the rest of the night. How do you fine a family 23 times for barbecuing, while your own fire pit smokes every weekend? What makes a retired detective build a 200-page case against his HOA president instead of calling a lawyer? And what happens when 80 grills show up on your street and the whole neighborhood smells like justice? If you've ever watched someone abuse power and thought, someone should do something, follow the channel. This story has a lien on a family home, a 9-year-old's crayon drawing, and a 127-3 vote that ended a 6-year reign. Marcus Williams, 42, born and raised in Atlanta, 15 years as a homicide detective, the kind who solved cases by sitting in interview rooms longer than anyone else could stand. Patient, quiet. The suspects who confessed always said the same thing: "I couldn't take the silence." He quit 2 years ago. Burnout, too many crime scenes. Opened a small auto repair shop, the kind of place where he fixes engines the same way he fixed cases. 1 piece at a time, no shortcuts. His wife Denise teaches kindergarten. Their daughter Zoe is 9, reads chapter books, draws everything she sees. Their son Miles is 6 and follows Marcus everywhere, including under cars he probably shouldn't be near. They bought the house in Magnolia Estates 10 months ago, first home they've ever owned. Denise cried when the agent handed over the keys. Marcus carried Zoe across the threshold. "Is this ours?" she asked. It was. Marcus's father, Leonard Williams, Army cook, 22 years. He fed 400 soldiers from a field kitchen and never burned a single thing. After he retired, he kept cooking, not for soldiers, but for the block. Every Saturday, Leonard's grill was the center of everything. Neighbors, strangers, anyone. His rule was simple: feed them and they'll come home. Leonard gave Marcus the Weber kettle the day Marcus signed the mortgage. Black steel, 22-inch bowl, scratched on the back in Leonard's handwriting: "Feed them and they'll come home." Leonard died 6 months ago. Lung cancer, the fast kind. Marcus keeps the grill on the patio. Every Sunday, he fires it up. Denise makes coleslaw. Zoe sets the table. Miles carries napkins. The neighbors who come, mostly white, tell Marcus he makes the best ribs on the block. That's how they met Dave. Carol Hennessy, 58, former real estate agent, the kind who sold lifestyle instead of square footage. HOA president 6 years running. Nobody has ever run against her. She keeps a binder, color-coded tabs, laminated dividers, that she calls the standards binder. Every violation she's ever issued, indexed by address and date. Carol's violations against the Williams family, the full inventory. Months 1 and 2, lawn height, 3.2 inches, maximum is 3. Trash can visible from the street, for 4 minutes while Marcus wheeled it back. Mailbox paint chip. Basketball hoop, not regulation distance from curb. Holiday decorations. Denise's Valentine wreath in February. Not an approved holiday display, period. Month 3, violation number 7. Excessive outdoor smoke creating neighborhood nuisance. The smoke is from Dad's grill, Sunday barbecue, the tradition Leonard built. Months 4 through 8, landscaping, noise from music, fence stain color, unauthorized structural modification for a patio umbrella bracket. The fines pile up, $100 per violation, some doubled for non-compliance. Total, $4,200. The same street, Tom Henderson, 3 houses down. Lawn height, 4.1 inches, never fined. The Petersons, boat in the driveway for 3 months, never cited. The Larsons, string lights up since last July, 0 violations. And Carol herself, in her backyard, a gas fire pit. She uses it every weekend. Smoke drifts over the fence line, same smoke she cited Marcus for. 0 violations, 0. Marcus brings this up, politely, at a public board meeting. I'd like to understand why violation 7, outdoor smoke, was issued to my address but not to the 3 homes with identical outdoor cooking equipment. Carol tilts her head, adjusts her glasses. I don't see color, Marcus. I see compliance. The room is quiet. After the meeting, board member Mike Patterson catches Marcus in the parking lot. Hey, I get it. She can be difficult. Let me talk to her for you. She listens to me. Marcus looks at Mike. He's seen this face before, in interview rooms. The guy who offers to help right before he doesn't. Sure, Mike. Appreciate it. Marcus installs 4 cameras. Pure habit, 15 years of crime scene documentation. He covers every angle of his property, and he starts a log. Every violation, every date, every matching violation at other addresses. The habits were muscle memory. Mike calls the following week. Talk to Carol. She's willing to ease up on the smaller stuff. Give it some time. Marcus says thanks. Waits. Violation 16 arrives Thursday, 17 on Monday, 18 the next Wednesday. Then Mike visits the house. Saturday morning, friendly, coffee on the patio, casual. Those cameras, they cover the whole front, right? What angles do you get on the east side? Too specific. Marcus knows that tone. 15 years of interrogation training. Suspects are always casual when they're fishing for what you know. Marcus gives a vague answer. Moves 2 cameras that night. Adds a hidden 5th, angled from the garage fascia, aimed at the sidewalk. The one Mike doesn't know about. 2 days later, camera 5. Timestamp, 11:47 p.m. Carol and Mike walking past Marcus's house. Mike points at the old camera positions, the ones he reported. Carol takes notes on her phone. They check whether they're being recorded. They look at the wrong cameras. Marcus watches the footage at his dining room table, saves it, labels it, adds it to the file. Page 87. What fills the other 113? Carol doesn't ease up. She accelerates. Violation 19, unauthorized structural modification for a hook that holds a wind chime. Violation 20, excessive vegetation, Denise's tomato plants. Violation 21, yard art, Miles's painted rock from summer camp. Marcus comes home from work one evening to find violation 22 taped to his front door. Carol is still on the sidewalk. She watches him read it. He looks up. She clicks her pen. Once. Mr. Williams, if you can't appreciate the way things work here, perhaps you'd be more comfortable somewhere else. Marcus folds the paper, puts it in his pocket. Good night, Carol. He photographs each violation, logs each one, adds the matching uncited violations at neighboring homes. He doesn't argue, doesn't call, doesn't raise his voice. He just documents. Page 134, page 155, page 178. Carol's nuclear move. An official letter from the HOA attorney. $4,200 in unpaid fines constitutes grounds for a property lien under the HOA charter. Foreclosure proceedings may begin in 90 days. Marcus reads the letter at the kitchen table. Denise reads it over his shoulder. Neither speaks. The house they saved for, the first thing they've ever owned, has a 90-day countdown on it. That night, Zoe stands in the hallway in her pajamas. She heard them talking. "Daddy, are we losing our house?" Marcus picks her up, holds her against his chest. "No, baby." Denise, after the kids are in bed. "Marcus, I know what you're doing. I know you're right. But the kids wake up scared of the mailbox. We can sell, start over somewhere. This is our home, the first thing I've ever owned." "I know, but is it worth it?" Silence. Here's the question. If someone put a lien on your first home, the first thing you've ever owned, over a barbecue grill your dead father gave you, would you pay and leave, or would you stay? Night. Garage. Marcus sits on the concrete floor, Dad's grill in front of him. He hasn't fired it up in 3 weeks. The outdoor smoke violation took the joy out of it. He runs his thumb over the inscription. "Feed them and they'll come home." He thinks about Leonard. Leonard never ran. Not from Vietnam. Not from the neighborhood that wasn't always friendly. Leonard just kept cooking until people had no choice but to love him. Marcus almost calls Denise's sister to ask about houses in her district. He puts the phone down, sits there. The garage smells like cold charcoal and concrete. Next morning, kitchen table, coffee untouched. Zoe comes downstairs, sets a piece of paper in front of him. Crayon. 4 stick figures in front of a house with a triangle roof. Smoke from a circle on the patio, the grill, green grass, blue sky. At the bottom, in purple crayon, our house. Marcus looks at the drawing, looks at Zoe. "This is us?" "That's us, Daddy. And that's Grandpa's grill. And that's our house." Marcus puts the drawing on the fridge, gets his laptop, opens the evidence file. Page 178. He works until 2 a.m., finishes at page 200. He files the fair housing complaint with HUD the next morning, files with the Georgia Commission on Equal Opportunity, attaches the 200-page file, all camera footage, the violation log comparison. Subject line: selective enforcement based on race, Magnolia Estates HOA. Carol spent $4,200 trying to silence a grill. Marcus spent 200 pages making it the loudest thing in the county. Carol receives the subpoena 8 days later. She calls Mike. Her voice is different, clipped, fast. "They filed. They actually filed." Dave Tucker, 56, ex-Marines, 20-year resident of Magnolia Estates, white. The kind of neighbor who waves from his Ford F-150 but doesn't get involved in HOA drama. "Not my business," he says. He said it for 6 years. Here's the question. If you were Dave, watching a family get fined 23 times for things your own yard does every week, how long does "not my business" last? Tuesday afternoon. Dave is walking his dog past Marcus's house. Zoe is sitting on the porch steps, not playing, not drawing, just sitting, knees pulled up, chin on her arms. "How come you're not playing in the yard, kiddo?" Zoe doesn't look up. "Mama says if we play outside, we get another letter." Dave stands there. The dog sits. Nobody moves. "Give me 1 hour." Dave goes door to door, 40 houses in 90 minutes. He brings a clipboard, no color-coded tabs, just a yellow legal pad, and a single sentence. The Williams family has the right to barbecue. 47 signatures. He also brings back a list he didn't need detective training to compile. 87 violations across the neighborhood, committed by other families. 0 fines. He just looked. Then, Dave walks past Carol's backyard. The fire pit, gas line, visible from the sidewalk. Same smoke she fined Marcus for. Dave photographs it, adds it to the petition. The plan: block party BBQ. Location: the public road directly in front of Carol's house. County jurisdiction, not HOA property. Dave files the block party permit with the county. Legal. Approved. Saturday, 10 a.m. 80 grills, 120 families, Magnolia Estates, neighboring streets, Dave's Marine buddies who drove from 3 counties. Smoke rises from every direction. Kids running through the haze, music, food for 500 people. A banner stretches across the entrance. If BBQ is a violation, fine us all. Marcus's Weber sits at the center of the block. Zoe's handwritten sign. Grandpa Leonard's grill. All are welcome. Dave brings his own grill, a beat-up charcoal Kingsford, and parks it 6 feet from Carol's driveway. He grills bratwurst and whistles. Carol watches from her living room window, curtain pulled 2 inches apart. Marcus is filing the HUD complaint. The 200-page evidence binder draws attention beyond the neighborhood. A local fair housing attorney, Ruth Osborne, takes the case pro bono after seeing the news. 80 Grill protest challenges HOA over alleged discrimination. She calls Marcus. Ruth digs. Previous complaints. HOA minutes from 2022. County records. She finds the Garcias. Elena and Carlos Garcia, Hispanic family. Lived in Magnolia Estates from 2020 to 2022. Received 14 violations in their first 5 months. Same pattern: lawn, trash can, outdoor cooking, unapproved decorations. A Virgin Mary garden statue cited as unauthorized yard art. They paid the fines, moved after a year. We thought it was us, Elena tells Ruth on the phone. Her voice is quiet. We thought maybe we really were doing something wrong. Ruth calls Marcus. Your case just got stronger. She's done this before. Marcus drives to the Garcia's new apartment. 45 minutes. Sits in their living room. Elena cries. Carlos stares at his hands. We should have fought, Carlos says. We should have stayed. Carlos looks up. His eyes are dry. That's worse. Marcus, you're going to get a chance. Carol's response, emergency board session. She proposes a new rule. All outdoor community events require 30-day pre-approval from the board, trying to prevent another BBQ. The board, minus Mike, who stares at the floor, votes it down. 4-1. Carol said those words twice, once on the phone to Mike, once to her own reflection. Both times, she sounded like someone watching her own house burn. She just didn't know she'd already lost. HOA special meeting. Attendance, 133 homeowners. Standing room only. Folding chairs packed into the community center. Carol sits at the front table, standards binder open. Mike beside her. He won't make eye contact with anyone. Ruth Osborne sits with Marcus. Denise stayed home with the kids. Dave is in the 3rd row, arms crossed. Mrs. Chen, Alice Chen, who received 6 violations her first year and never said a word, sits in the 5th row. Carol opens. We're here to discuss community standards and recent disruptions. I want to assure everyone that this board has always enforced rules fairly and consistently. Ruth stands. Mr. Williams would like to present some information. Marcus rises. The room goes quiet. He doesn't raise his voice. I spent 15 years building cases for Atlanta PD. I know what evidence looks like. I know what patterns look like. He clicks the projector. Slide 1. A table. Left column. Williams family. 23 violations. $4,200 in fines. Right column. 87 identical violations across 14 white-owned properties. 0 fines. Same lawn height. Same trash can placement. Same outdoor cooking. He lets the silence hold. Different enforcement. Slide 2. Camera footage. Timestamp. 11:47 p.m. Carol and Mike walking past Marcus's house. Mike pointing at the camera positions he reported. Carol taking notes. That's the board president and board member Patterson conducting surveillance of my home at 11 p.m. Mike stands. I was just... Ruth, without looking at him. Sit down, Mr. Patterson. Slide 3. The violation log, before and after. Timestamps don't match. 3 entries redated. Records altered. Slide 4. Elena Garcia. Video statement, recorded by Ruth. 14 violations in 5 months. I thought it was us. Then I found out it was only us. Marcus looks at Carol. You told me you don't see color. You see compliance. Silence. But the compliance record only has 2 colors in it. The room doesn't move. Alice Chen stands. Nobody asked her to. I received 6 violations my first year. I painted my door the approved color. I trimmed my hedges. I did everything she asked. She pauses. When I asked why the Johnsons' peeling fence was never cited, she told me, they've been here longer. She sits back down. Marcus walks to the front table, sets the 200-page binder down in front of Carol. The thud echoes across the linoleum. Standards? Let me show you the standard. Motion for removal of the board president and board member Patterson. Vote 127-4, 3 against. Carol, Mike, and Carol's sister. Carol stands, opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. She picks up the standards binder, both hands, pressed against her chest, and walks out. The door closes behind her. Mike follows. Nobody looks at him. Carol receives the restitution order. $25,000. $18,000 to Marcus for fines, legal costs, and damages. $7,000 to the Community Improvement Fund. The lien on the Williams home is removed the same day. Mike Patterson resigns, for personal reasons. His wife doesn't speak to him for 3 weeks. Fair housing investigation, ongoing. Carol faces potential federal civil rights penalties. She puts her house on the market, listed below value. The listing agent asks her to remove the fire pit photos. They'll raise questions, the agent says. New HOA board, President Dave Tucker. I'm probably the least qualified person in this subdivision for this job, he says at his first meeting. But at least I know how to grill. First rule passed unanimously. The Williams Amendment. All violation citations require photographic evidence, date-stamped, confirmed by 3 independent homeowners before issuance, written by a former homicide detective. Marcus is elected to the board. At his second meeting, a homeowner asks about enforcing lawn height standards. Marcus looks at her. Is it the same height for everyone? Silence. Then we're good. First annual Unity BBQ, 200 people, 80 grills. The block smells like mesquite and cornbread and hot dogs and kimchi and jerk chicken. Marcus's Weber sits at the center. Zoe's sign, Grandpa Leonard's grill, all are welcome. Dave walks up with an empty plate, takes a rib, bites, looks at Marcus. Your old man could cook. Zoe tugs Dave's sleeve. Mr. Dave, try the cornbread too. Grandpa's recipe. Marcus watches them. Smoke rising. 200 people filling a street that used to have one family afraid to play in their own yard. He looks at the grill, runs his thumb over the inscription one more time. Feed them, and they'll come home. Carol looked at this neighborhood and saw property values. Marcus looked at it and saw a place worth cooking for. Zoe looked at it and drew a picture of home. 200 people look at it now and smell mesquite. That's the difference between standards and the things you can't put in a binder. If this story hit you, do 3 things. Subscribe, because next week, an HOA treasurer embezzles $55,000 through a fake landscaping company to renovate her own kitchen. The homeowner who catches her wasn't even looking. He found the receipts in her trash. You'll want to see that one. Comment, tell me the worst thing an HOA has ever done to you or someone you know. I read every single one. And share this, because Marcus spent 15 years solving homicides. This was the most important case he ever built, and he built it from his dining room table.